With flashlights in hand, Waycross police search for clues inside a home 14 years ago. Drops of blood discovered on a kitchen wall.
I wonder if you saw that.
Bed sheets soaked in blood, and a strong odor of hydrogen peroxide. Hours before, the homeowner, Eugene Garner, is nowhere to be found until a neighbor stopped by to check in.
He went in the house and he found him in there dead.
His body lying next to his own bed, strangled to death, bones in his face and nose fractured. He was 73 years old. Ruth Taylor is Garner's sister.
There was a time that, oh Lord, I didn't think I was gonna make it because my brother and I were very tight and I miss him.
Investigators found no suspicious DNA, no unfamiliar fingerprints either. A few days later, police questioned a woman who admits to having a relationship with Garner, 37-year-old Sheila Ditton.
Sheila, let me explain to you what we're going to do, okay?
But she's not interested in talking.
Sheila, I'm Detective Woods, okay? How you doing? You need to wake up. You take your swig of drink.
I'm not talking until tomorrow.
Detectives expand their search and question another woman, Shannon Jones. She tells investigators she sold drugs to Ditton the evening Garner died, and she is no friend.
But she don't care who she hurt, man. She don't care what she say. She don't care.
Jones tells detectives she once saw Ditton hit an ex-boyfriend, and then investigators discover a possible motive: money to fund Ditton's drug habit.
Oh yeah, everybody knew that. Everybody that dealt with him or was around him in a length of time knew that he had all this money in his pocket. He had a roll of money in his pocket big enough to choke a cow.
On August 13th, 2004, police charged Ditton with Garner's murder. At her trial, Jones tells the jury she saw Ditton with an unusual amount of money the night Garner died. And that's not all. She also claims Ditton confessed to killing Garner. The jury appeared to believe it, convicting and then sentencing her to life in prison. Brown, the questionable confession isn't the most disturbing. It was something else. But then something catches their eye on Garner's right arm, a scar they believe looks like a bite mark.
This is real serious, okay?
A few days later, detectives bring in Sheila Ditton for questioning, and they notice a familiar scar.
Sheila, let me see your hands. Put your hands up here on the table for me, would you?
Police then hire a forensic dentist from Marietta, Georgia, to create molds of Garner and Denton's teeth. After comparing the molds to the bite marks, the dentist concludes the bite mark on the left arm of Sheila Ditton was probably made by Eugene Garner, and the bite mark on the right arm of Eugene Garner was probably made by Sheila Ditton. Former District Attorney Rick Curry.
I think a jury would look at it and say, yeah, that's probably, yeah, she did that.
A bite mark?
Garner's son doesn't believe it.
How can you say that someone killed someone off of a bite mark? That don't necessarily say that you killed the person.
No research has been published.
Chris Fabricant is an attorney with the Innocence Project.
Bite mark analysis probably represents everything that is wrong in forensic science in our country today.
The majority of forensic scientists agree. In 2016, this report by the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology found bite mark analysis does not meet the scientific standards for foundational validity, calling it subjective, and that examiners cannot identify the source of bite marks with reasonable accuracy. Since 2005, at least 31 defendants incarcerated for bite mark evidence have been exonerated or had their indictments dismissed. That includes Alfred Swinton.
Freedom! Freedom! It feels so good.
This past March, a judge released Swinton after DNA evidence found he was not the source of bite marks related to a 1991 homicide. He spent 18 years in prison for a crime he did not commit.
Right now, freedom, and thank God for the Innocence Project. every last one. And thank God, period.
Every single case that the Innocence Project has put its hands on in the last 5 years, every single one of those clients have ultimately been released from prison. And we can't incarcerate somebody for a lifetime based on subjective speculation masquerading as science, and that's exactly what happened to Miss Denton.